155.
We didn't do one for Maharaj.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Oh.
155.
que está todo cerrado.
Are you going to continue? If you continue, then sing Shri Shri Sukha Samyastika.
What page is that one?
148.
Oh, that's his song now, mate. Do you know what you've just done?
Huh?
Do you know what you've just done?
Unleashing the dragon.
That's his song, mate. Sure. It's a bit early still.
It's not bad.
Let's bring out the full moon.
Krishna Kirtana Ganana Kana Paro Premamrita Bolide Krishna Kirtana Ganana Kana Paro Premamrita Bolide Sira Virachandra Priya Priya Paro
How do I put this in?
It's
don't get it.
Yeah, so it is about 6 qualities.
Oh, this.
See this bit? Like, imagine that's your A, and it's like that. Do you get it?
What, like?
Yeah.
Like that? Okay.
Like that.
132.
Yeah, I love you drumming there.
You want it? No. Gai Gaura Madhur Sware, Gai Gaura Madhur Sware, Gai Gaura Madhur Sware, Gai Gaura Madhur Sware. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sorry, I lost it. Okay, let's just end it. Okay. Sorry.
What's that? What was that last bang? The late finish. That was so unnecessary.
No, we haven't.
You have had so many times. That's not okay. When is he coming?
He was, I heard he was going to come 4 o'clock, but it's now
Do you want to sing?
Okay, shall I sing a prima donna? Shall I start from first verse? That is 84. I don't need
Because Friday's last one, Saturday was last. So today would be 11.
You sure?
I lost my voice a little bit. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's fine. This will help you.
No, but I mean, it is not
helped
like before.
everyone.
It is like
It's
with
wonderful.
raspy.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Huh?
Oh, it's
Wonderful.
It's good to do.
Don't
be too hard on
You
yourself.
won't strain on your voice.
Okay.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Well, you will hear it. It is not nice. Okay.
It's okay to do.
How do I?
Yeah, like that.
You have to point it.
Like this?
Yeah, there we go. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's a good start.
Devadida Mukta Yukta Bhakta Vrindavan Lila Papa Papa Daya
Bhakti Krishna
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gaura Purnima ki jai, Saci Mata ki jai, Sri Tridandi ki jai, Sri Gaura Purnima ki jai, Sri Vrindavan ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Rasa Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Bhakti Devi Tulasi Devi ki jai, Shri Purushottam ki jai, Brother Sripad Virachandra ki jai, Shri Bhakti Vinasa Shri Simhadev ki jai, Bhakti Prabhu Maharaj ki jai, Gandharaj Srimad Bhagavad Gita Shri Tami ki jai, Vishwa Vaishnava Raja Sava ki jai, Akaramat Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai, Tadya Saka Mat ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Prasthana Chakra ki jai, Vishwa Gyani Tadya Saka Mat ki jai, Purnima, divine appearance of Sri Gauranga. Ki Jai.
Shankaracharya, when he reintroduced the Vedic authority in India and chased Buddhism effectively out of India, it's still existing there, of course, in some pockets, particularly in Sri Lanka and some parts. But mainly Buddhism went east to the, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and then to East China, Japan, etc. That's where they get the word Zen from. You know Zen, in Japanese Zen meditation? It's coming from Chinese Chan, and that's coming from Dhyan. It's meditation, 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga. So, Nirvishesh, Shunyavad, similar, Brahma, Nirvana. So then you have the so-called atomic theory of Canada. And this is saying that the ultimate reality is the material atom. Nothing more than that. And then Sankhya of Kapila. Sankhya, philosophy, which is enumerating the material elements to try to distinguish the spirit from the matter. 24 material elements. And there's two versions of Sankhya, the atheistic and theistic. The Lord himself appeared incarnated as Kapila Muni. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, among sages I am Kapila, possessor of all knowledge. It's one of the opulences of the Lord, is knowledge, right? Wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, Sad Aishvarya. So that knowledge manifested in Lord Kapila Dev. So in his version, we read in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the 24 elements of material nature, obviously the 5 tanmatras, gross material elements, earth, water, fire, ether, subtle elements, mind, intelligence, ego, then various, there's 24 in total, but he had with the Atma, 25, and Paramatma, 26. But the so-called atheist Kapila, who appeared earlier than that, he accepted the 24 elements, but not Atma and Paramatma. So atheistic theory. But theistic Sankhya, definitely we can accept that. It's part of the Vedic tradition, one of the branches.
And the life force comes from?
The life force, the
life
Atma.
Force, if they don't accept Atma and Paramatma, then where does the life force comes from?
Yeah, all these theories, they generally consider that consciousness is a product of material combination. Like in Buddhism, they say consciousness is just one of 5 elements. So they don't believe in Atma. Krishna goes to great lengths in Bhagavad Gita, explains to Arjuna about the soul. The soul can't be born, doesn't die, can't be affected by any material combination, fire, water, or anything, etc. But then he says to Arjuna, giving a very broad view, he says, even if you believe that the soul begins at birth, whatever, conception or birth, and at death is no more, still you have to do your duty. Huh? You have to do your duty in this life, in this time, as a warrior, to uphold Dharma. So, very broad view. So that idea was there. That's pre-Buddhism, because Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago. Buddha appeared, 500 BC, like that. So, but there's always been a kind of Buddhistic type of philosophy in the material world, of course. So they were the Vaikhanasas. He mentions that Srila Prabhupada in the commentary. They were holding this philosophy previously. So these are the 6 philosophical theses, but all of them are considered non-devotional, ultimately. The result of them, they're going for either complete emancipation, freedom from birth, death, old age, disease, and suffering of any kind. That's in mukti, or they're going for elevation to higher spheres for increased material enjoyment. That's like karma mimamsa. It's going, do good karma and get elevated and enjoy in the next life. Yeah. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Sharanagati, he says, these are great souls, these great rishis, Gautam Rishi, Kanada, Patanjali, etc. So I see ultimately they are sent by you, Krishna, for some purpose in this world, to engage people of a certain mentality or understanding who aren't directly pious, to want to surrender to the Lord directly and serve the Lord. So for them, all these systems are there. But he said, for myself, I offer respect to them, but from a distance. From a distance, I offer them respect, but the dust from the feet of your devotee is my life and soul, and my only nourishment. Yeah. So by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can have real understanding of the essence of knowledge by avoiding these sectarian views and accepting the lotus feet of Krishna as the ultimate goal of life. Let us all worship Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his gracious mercy to the conditioned souls. Krishna Kirtana Gana Natana Kalo Patodanim Rajita. I'll just say it. Sadbhakthavali Hangsa Chakra Madhupa Shreni Vihas Padam Ghananandi Khaladvanir Vahutu Me Jiva Maru Prangane Sri Chaitanya Dohaya Nidhe Tava Lashal Lila Shuddha Swadhuni. O my merciful Lord Chaitanya, Kaviraj Goswami composed this verse. He compiled the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Wrote it, you can say. Wrote it means he had the information about Lord Chaitanya, his life, his teachings, from various sources, like the diary of Sripad Ramananda Goswami, who was the personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya, and wrote down everything like in a journal. And then that passed to his disciple Raghunath Das Goswami. And then from there, Kaviraj Goswami compiled this, and he was asked to do that, he was commissioned to do that by Rupan Sanatan in Vrindavan. It wasn't his idea, now I think I'll write a biography of Lord Chaitanya, and that'll be great, you know. Because he says in the verse, I am lame and ill-advised, and I'm stumbling in the material world. He was very aged at that time, and half blind, and half crippled. He said, but by the mercy of Madan Mohan, deities of Sanatana Goswami, I've been able to write this Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is considered the, from our point of view, Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding, is considered the ultimate, the cream of all Shastras. You know, like that. So we say Bhagavad Gita, then Srimad Bhagavatam, then Chaitanya Charitamrita, in that way. Ultimately, not to say greater or lesser, all is absolute and all are wonderful and beautiful, but from the point of view that for Krishna consciousness, as Kaviraj Goswami in another verse, which he writes in another scripture of his, Krishna Lilamrita Sar, Tar Sata Sata Dar, Dasa Dike Vaha Cho Hoite, Sri Chaitanya Lila Hoy, Sava Karma Predam Hoy. It's like this. There's one verse, he says, Krishna Lilamrita Sar, the nectar of Krishna Lila, Tar Sata Sata Dara, in hundreds and hundreds of rivers, this is flowing out from the Krishna Lila, and those rivers have then become collected together in the lake of Chaitanya Lila. So Chaitanya Lila is very precious to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to that degree that diving into the lake of that Mahaprabhu's pastime, Kaviraj Goswami says, Manahangsa Chaha Hoite, means your mind, like the swan of your mind, let the swan of your mind dive deep into that lake of Chaitanya Lila. And then when he comes out, when he emerges from there, he'll find himself in Vrindavan, in the service of Radha and Govinda. That's the best way to approach Radha Govinda Lila, through Mahaprabhu and his pastimes. Definitely, but it's a great, sort of like a trade secret, you can say, of the Gaudiya Vaishnava line. Outsiders, they've heard of Mahaprabhu, even Indians and Hindus in general. They say, oh, he's a great sannyasi, lived in Bengal and did a non-cooperation movement, by getting people to practice, Hinduism in defiance of the Mohammedan government at the time. All of which is true, of course, externally. He did that. But he was to come and give the holy names to the world, to deliver the world. And then later on we'll find there's internal reasons as well why he appeared for his own purpose. So he says in this verse, "O my merciful Lord Chaitanya, may the nectarian Ganges waters of your transcendental activities flow on the surface of my desert-like tongue. Beautifying these waters are the lotus flowers of singing, dancing and loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, which are the pleasure abodes of unalloyed devotees. These devotees are compared to swans, ducks and bees. The river's flowing produces a melodious sound that gladdens their ears." Purport: our tongues always engage in vibrating useless sounds that do not help us realize transcendental peace. Elsewhere in his commentary of Upadeshamrita, Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he gives a very nice example, which he says the useless sound vibrations expressed by materialistic people, like the croaking of frogs, just pointless, with no use or value. So he says, like the frogs are croaking at night, in the darkness of night, they're croaking away there. Have you ever heard that? If you go near a lake, sometimes in India or other tropical places, it's very loud, like a cacophony, all together, And then, but the only result is, in the darkness, the snake follows the sound, and swallows them. So it's inviting death, This prajalpa, useless talks, that aren't connected with Krishna or Krishna's service in some way or other. So that's very dangerous, because the tongue is the most powerful in the senses, the entrance to all the senses of the body. That's also, there's some verses in Epistle of James in the Bible that tell very nicely about the value of controlling the tongue, so on, like this. So the tongue is compared to a desert because a desert needs a constant supply of refreshing water to make it fertile and fruitful. Water is the substance most needed in the desert. The transient pleasure derived from mundane topics of art, culture, politics, sociology, dry philosophy, poetry, and so on, is compared to a mere drop of water, because although such topics have a qualitative feature of transcendental pleasure, they are saturated with the modes of material nature. So we're not like, extreme renunciationists or Gnostics who say, there's no pleasure in the material world. Definitely there's pleasure, because pleasure exists in the Supreme Lord. And in the shadow potency, the Maya Shakti, or Chaya potency, Chaya means shadow potency, so the shadow has a connection with the reality, you see, although it's also separate, but it has a connection with reality. So in the reflection of the reality, pleasure is there, but it's very, very small in comparison. It's very fleeting and very small, and also reactionary, has its reaction. So if somebody has a particular thing that they enjoy doing, for example, somebody might like to eat French fries, for example, they just love them, and whenever they can find them or get them, they'll go for it. So they get the French fries, it's an example, or ice cream, if you prefer. So if they get the ice cream, they go there, one ice cream, it's fantastic, second, third, fourth. By the time 5 or 6, they become disgusted. They want to vomit, actually. This is material enjoyment, it's like that. So how can that be real? How can that be reality? And in Gita, Krishna says, the wise, they don't take pleasure in happiness, in pleasures that have a beginning and an end, but only nateshu ramate shuka. The ramate means spiritual pleasure, spiritual happiness. Yeah, they'll be well greedy for that, So that's, the greed is there. The materialists are greedy, right, for their things, developing their situation materially, bank balance, house, family, etc., etc. So also Vaishnavas are greedy, lobe sadhu sangha, greedy for association, sadhu sangha, and association in different ways, isn't it? Through shastra, prasad, the spiritual things that are connected with Krishna, the vaibhav of Krishna. Uddhava says in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam to Krishna, "O Lord, bless me that I can completely only exist in this world on your remnants, or the remnants of your devotees, by food, by clothes, by materials, or anything, So this way I can be sure that I'm really connected with you, through that connection. Otherwise, if I independently try to think what is what about Krishna consciousness, it may be right or may not be right, isn't it? But what has come, the prasad, it's come from Krishna or through his devotees, that will be, like guaranteed thing. So yeah, these material pleasures, they have a qualitative feature of transcendental pleasure, but they're saturated with the modes of material nature. Therefore, neither collectively nor individually can they satisfy the vast requirements of the desert-like tongue. So it's like a vast requirement. The tongue is never satisfied, we know. One thing with more and more and more. So, like in ancient Rome, they used to have these feasts. And it was so decadent. They would eat and eat and eat. Then they'd have these, urns, next to their couch, and they'd vomit into the urn. And then continue eating on again. And vomit, and then continue again. What is this, Yeah. Of course, Rome fell soon after that. When a society becomes decadent to such degrees, it goes down the pan, as we know. So, despite crying in various conferences, therefore, the desert-like tongue continues to be parched. Despite crying in various conferences. I guess that means trying through reasoning or developing logical arguments or trying to figure things out, in politics, in sociology, in those kind of ways, trying to come to a solution, get something substantial, some taste. Still, the tongue continues to be parched. It will never satisfy. For this reason, people from all parts of the world must call for the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who are compared to swans swimming around the beautiful lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or bees humming around his lotus feet in transcendental pleasure, searching for honey. The dryness of material happiness cannot be moistened by so-called philosophers who cry for Brahman, liberation, and similar dry speculative objects. The urge of the soul proper is different. The soul can be solaced only by the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his many bona fide devotees who never leave the lotus feet of the Lord to become imitation Mahaprabhus, but all cling to his lotus feet like bees that never leave a honey-soaked lotus flower. It means they never leave the lotus feet of the Lord to become imitation Mahaprabhus. So everybody wants to be the Lord, the centre, right? It means the enjoyer. Because the Lord's the enjoyer. So as we were saying, because there's a semblance or a reflection of pleasure in the Maya Shakti, and so the searching for that is a natural thing. Because the Lord's infinitely seeking more and more and more and more pleasure. And the Jiva soul, part and parcel, small Anu Chaitanya, a small tiny spark of the infinite Lord, also has a propensity to seek happiness, seek pleasure. But how much capacity does the soul, tiny soul, have for that? But here in the material world, every soul is like falsely taking that position of the controller, the enjoyer. Like it says in Bhagavad Gita, the demons, or I've seen in a Hindu film, the the demons, you know, they've got big fangs like this Indian version of demons. You know, fangs, stars, reddish eyes. And they go, Aham Ishvar, Aham Bogi. I'm the Lord, I'm the enjoyer. Lord Chaitanya's movement of Krishna consciousness is full of dancing and singing about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. It is compared here to the pure waters of the Ganges, which are full of lotus flowers. The enjoyers of these lotus flowers are the pure devotees, who are like bees and swans. They chant like the flowing of the Ganges, the river of the celestial kingdom. The author desires such sweetly flowing waves to cover his tongue. He humbly compares himself to materialistic persons who always engage in dry talk from which they derive no satisfaction. As like apparently Einstein said, what's the definition of insanity? To do the same thing over and over again and expect you'll get a different result. Right? So they're not deriving really any satisfaction, but somehow or other they think by doing the same things they'll get a result. If they were to use their dry tongues to chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, as exemplified by Lord Chaitanya, they would taste sweet nectar and enjoy life. And this brings to mind the Sri Prabhupada Jivanamritam, the verse composed by Srila Sridhar Maharaj, which, forgive me, I forget the verse, or I don't know the verse, but it is saying that when the pure devotees, who are like bees, buzzing around the nectar-soaked lotus-like feet of the Lord, and they're becoming intoxicated by drinking that pollen, taking that nectar, and in their intoxication they're like flying all over the place, hither and thither, drunk in an intoxicated state, and they're so filled up of it that drops of it are flying out from their mouths and off their bodies. And Sri Rama says, I'm collecting those drops. I'm running around, madly collecting these drops and putting them in this book, Prabhupada Jivanamritam, which is like the remnants of the pure devotees. And this is what will really satisfy the heart, the hankering of the heart. It means Prapanna Jivan Amrit, the nectar for the soul. Prapanna means happiness. So we were supposed to go to 10 past, right?
Yeah.
So they'll just tell us, will they? Or
Yeah.
just find out anyway.
Yeah. Like we can sing the.
Oh, we start just ourselves. Okay.
Yeah. I will get everybody.
Get the main kirtaneers in.
Yeah.
So these are like supercharged, the verses and also the commentary by Srila Prabhupada, like supercharged, He was so desirous that this Chaitanya Charitamrita should be completed in his lifetime, and in Los Angeles, in the printing press there, and then he told the devotees, you have to make 2 volumes. There was, 17 volumes. Now they have them compressed into but then there were individual things, and he said you have to make the 2 volumes in, I think it was very short time, like 1 month or 6 weeks or something. And Prabhu, Rameshwar Prabhu, was in charge of the press, and he said, Prabhupada, I think this is impossible. And that's when he said, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary, which has become like a Prabhupadism. Prabhupada said thing. Yeah. Although I think actually that expression was by Napoleon, was it not?
Yeah.
Earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes the Vaishnavas they inculcate these different expressions, and we go, "Wow, Gurudev, fantastic!" But actually they've taken it from somewhere else, but they're using it to express something in Vaishnavism. For example, like where Sridhar Maharaj was describing about Krishna, the centre, Krishna is the centre of everything. He's not out there on the periphery, like God in heaven, and we're here on earth. And it's really nothing to do with him, It's completely separate. There is a philosophy of that, it's called deism, that God created the world, did everything, and then went off somewhere to his own things. Like a Swiss watchmaker, you know, he builds the clock, winds it up, and then the clock's just winding down, like to the end of the universe, and then he's off, you know. But Krishna's a center, and that center is everywhere. So he said, everywhere center, nowhere circumference. Do you follow? Yeah, but this was actually by St. Bonaventure. He was the successor of St. Francis of Assisi. He was a bishop, actually. But as far as I know, he was the first to coin that phrase. It may have been before him also. But the center is everywhere, nowhere circumference. It's a good way to understand the Krishna conception of divinity. Is the most original and most substantial and most, and that center is everywhere. Normally we say the center's in one place, right? And then everything is like that. But this center is everywhere, and there's no circumference. How is that? It is inconceivable. So the Golok conception, Krishna consciousness, if we read in the Bhagavatam, where it describes the structure of the universe, and you know there are so many layers, 8 layers: earth, water, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. Each layer is 10 times the thickness of the previous one, and each layer is 10 times the diameter of the universe. So this particular universe, we're told, is 10 billion miles in diameter. So surrounding the space of the universe, in which are the sun, the moon, all the planets and galaxies, first layer of Earth would be then 10 times that. That's what? 100 billion miles. So then outside that's a layer of water. So that's 10 times that. That's 1,000 billion miles. These things are inconceivable. So when you get, by the time you enter into the Paravyom, the spiritual sky, never mind the Vaikuntha planets, which is talking the Brahmajyoti, that's an inconceivable. And one time, when we lived, we can do that. Okay, we worked it out that by comparison with these dimensions, we said if we're in London and the universe is like that, you know, like a golf ball. If say the universe is the size of a golf ball, meaning the space, the universal space inside the coverings is like a golf ball size, then you come through the last covering of the universe to the Brahmajyoti in Australia. In other words, to say, we're completely confined in this, trapped in this tiny, tiny space of the universe, in that sense. But at the same time, it's actually not a geographical linear distance. Like, you know, if I go in a spaceship from here, on, and I'll go through these coverings, and then eventually get to the spiritual world. No, it's in consciousness. So the Goloka conception is here, right now. It's central. We're not perceiving it, we're not aware of it. And all the other conceptions outside that, Brahman, Paramatma, etc. But sometimes these things have to be described in a linear way or a sort of geographical way to give some understanding of comparison, you know?
It gives you understanding or makes you feel claustrophobic.
It makes you very claustrophobic, of course. But the soul, being spiritual, the Atma, Narada Muni describes in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that for that soul who's fully Krishna conscious, at the time of death, they're transferred to the spiritual world. He describes it like a flash of lightning. So no material element can impede the progress of the soul. That's in Gita, right? Fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it. Yeah? So just instantly there, you know. If even the speed of mind is so fast, right? Speed of mind, like if I just think of India, I think of Navadvip now. So I'm there in the mind. That's just a nanosecond, you know. Then what to speak of spiritual is very inconceivable, you know. And the mind is just a reflection of that, chit abhas. But the best we can do in a present embodied state is use the facilities we have been given, mind, intelligence, to try and understand things as far as is possible. But that has its limitation, of course. So ultimately, the knowledge, divine knowledge, comes by revelation, avaroha panta, descending. And the only way to attain that is through prayer and begging. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavatamati kriyatam jadi kutopi labhyate tatra mulam ekalam tatra lolam api mulam ekalam janma koti sukritai na labhyate. Krishna bhakti rasa, the Krishna consciousness, kriyatam jadi kutoni labhyate tatra lolam. The only way to attain it is lolam. Lolam means greed, hankering, intense desire. Api mulam, mula means the root. The root, the necessary route to actually work Krishna consciousness, to get Krishna consciousness, is that lolam, tatra lolam, api mulam ekalam. Only that, yeah. Janma koti sukritai labhyate. It cannot be attained by any other method. Janma koti sukritai means, koti means, right, 100,000. 100,000 lifetimes of sukriti in this verse means like punya, pious activities in the material world, which are very, very good to do. But it's not like if I accumulate so many pious activities, a huge heap of pious activities, that will suddenly magically turn into shraddha, faith. It's not going to happen. So we pray for Shraddha Devi, the gift of Shraddha Devi, to manifest in our hearts, yeah? Shraddha Devi, faith, the queen of faith. So you have Bhakti Devi, Shraddha Devi. So we pray for them to come and sit in our heart. Because she's a queen, queens don't like to go to any rough or filthy place, right? So we have to clean the heart, and she'll come there, sit there. That's what we... Bhaktivinoda Thakur was praying like that. Shraddha Devi Guna Gai. In his poem, Sharanagati. Are they coming? Are they coming? They're here. To chant this.
Oh, he is the Kirtan, yeah.
Oh, you've come to do that, have you?
I've come to
Great. Okay. Jai. Mahaprabhu ki Jai. What?
Tridandi Swami ki.
Yeah.
Swarup.
Shall we start now?
You do. Don't worry about it. Don't know what he's doing.
No.
Potty.
Coffee?
Potty.
What?
Because he was carrying a toasted pot.
It is.
Does everybody has the... How many do we... It's in the book also, right?
Is it?
I read that.
Probably, yeah. Page.
Which page?
The one.
In the book. I don't think this is it. No, this is from Chaitanya Charita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in the Chaitanya Charita book, but not in the Kirtan guide.
I'll do it in the Spanish one.
Oh,
I don't know in English.
English are a bit behind, but
maybe we can get standard. Can we? Standard? Maharaj?
Gaura Purnima.